I think of it as solutions built in Africa by Africans, for Africans first, then with a global reach. Then it could
Hmm.
be built in Africa or outside Africa, maybe the diaspora, but definitely built by Africans.
You're in the right place. Welcome to the Built in Africa podcast, where we connect trailblazers of the African diaspora through the unifying language of tech. On this episode, we connect with Ugo Ifezue, senior product designer based in Lagos, Nigeria. There are many roads that lead to the position of product designer. Listen as Ugo shares what kickstarted his journey.
I eventually, after working in a bank for a few months, got like a major first role in an e-commerce company as a developer. It was there that I transitioned to a designer, a product designer, because of we kept paying a lot of research firms outside to help us look at why we were having low conversion rates. So we'd pay these huge sums of money, and they would gather people in the room, the classroom, and have them use our sites, give feedback. And I wondered, why can't we do this in house? Like, why? And it occurred to
Hmm.
me that we just kept developing our site based on features that we wanted users to use. We didn't like take a good look at how people are using the site. We were not very intentional about it. So I figured out, is this a thing? Then I found out there are people called product designers, UI designers, UX researchers. That's the whole process
Hmm.
of looking at your product, researching what users do, how they use it. So I say, you know what, I pretty much know development. Let me take a step back. It was a product team of four people. Let me just be the guy that does all the research and the wireframing stuff, building things out of the blue, out of the box. We're just building things. So let me be the guy that sketches stuff. And since then, it's maybe 6 years now. Since then, I have kind of embraced that journey and that. I've gotten so much in love with the idea of helping businesses form models and whatever business problems they have into like working products using design.
While the roles require collaboration, at times designers and developers are at odds. For that reason, having even basic coding skills as a designer is a huge plus. Listen as Ugo shares how his development background helps him as a product designer.
So someone who has development experience and still has the skill set, I'm very empathetic and very functional. I was very empathetic and functional as just an entry level designer. So a lot of things. So entry level designers will need some kind of experience working with developers to understand how to design functionally and realistically. But I kind of knew what was feasible with design. I knew that certain things
Hmm.
and are not implementable, or they don't make sense from a developer point. So I had all those constraints already going into design.
Hmm.
And added to the fact that I kind of was a creative, I like being creative. So I tried my best to be as creative as possible, at the same time still appreciating the constraints of development. So working with developers was always a good thing, because they would always say, "Wow, okay, finally a designer that can code and is empathetic towards what's feasible from a development perspective." And I would also be the guy that would design and then convert my designs to code and give them to put in there. Because the developers don't like implementing very hard, very maybe hard designs. So had that advantage in being the guy that was able to design something nice and being able to implement it.
With over 7 years of experience, Ugo shares his tips and tricks for excelling as an African designer.
You're solving, I mean, I think it gets said a lot and people brush about it as it's already cliche, but you really are solving a problem for a business, right? Like an existing business with real world people, and they need you to design a solution for users so that it's the best experience for them. A lot of people just think that just add colors and shapes and that's it. No, you really are trying to interface humans with a business model with UI UX. That's all you're trying to do. And you
Mm-hmm.
want to provide that solution in between. You want it to help the users interface with the business model so that they can get the best value the business is offering. So I think to be successful, you just have to have empathy about for users. You need to be very intentional about what you're trying to solve for. You need to also spend a lot of time using products randomly. I have at some point I had like more than 50 gig of screenshots on my laptop because of like I use because one thing I tell designers is that you don't have the experience to work on different kind of product. Like you might never have worked on a ride sharing product. But if you use three ride sharing apps, you read blogs of the product of the company teams building those apps, it will feel like you've worked on it. If
Mm-hmm.
you have never worked on a blockchain product, download three wallet apps, wallets,
Mm-hmm.
fiat gateways, or whatever. Download them, try and make sense of them, read the blogs. A lot of big companies now have like a separate blog for the development team or the design team. Uber has Uber.design where they talk about their trip framework. You read it in detail about how they worked on those things. You use the app, you, you, you put two and two together, you now see why they did certain things. So that you could even be discussing with a new client about the ride sharing app, but you don't have the experience, but you've read so much about it that you can actually offer, oh, we should try this, we should try that because of Uber did this and it worked and it made a lot of sense. So you're able to hack your way into uh, experiences that you probably never have in your lifetime. But so I try and say that empathy, being intentional, and read a lot of real life case studies of real teams building product, and it will in some way inform your design knowledge of what good layout is like, what good typography is like, best UX patterns, all those things build up over time when you use so many applications and you feel like, okay, this is the best way to present the checkout flow. This is the best way to present. So it's a combination of design experience, practice, and the apps you use every day.
And that's it for this episode. If you haven't already, check out the full article on our website, builtinafrica.io, found in the description. And while you're there, subscribe to our newsletter so we may keep you up to date with the latest. But until then, keep building.